Okay, the September meeting of the Area Planning Commission will come to order. Roll call, please.
Ryan Baker,
Present.
Tammy Bolin, James Chrisman, Mark Klinkenbeard,
Here.
John Collette, Jim Crawley, Jeff Ford,
Here.
Norm Forderman,
Here.
Don Folk, John Hanley,
Here.
Marcus Mauer,
Here.
Debbie May, William Verdine,
Here.
Fred Wilson.
Here. Okay, we do have a quorum. I think everybody's had a chance. I'm sorry. Stand for the pledge, please. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, I think everyone's had an opportunity to review the minutes and the status report. Are there any corrections? Motion approval. Second. Favor aye? Aye. Are there any public comments that I don't know about?
We had someone who had indicated they may have interest to speak, but I have not heard anything further.
Anybody have any comments that are not on the agenda? Okay, thank you. Okay, Director's report.
Good evening. Couple things real quick. First off, busy month for the plat committee, 4 subdivisions that were submitted and approved just during the month. I think that, again, proves that process works for the citizens. I had alluded to House Enrolled Act. I talked about it a little bit in my report here. I'm awaiting advice of council on just how exactly that impacts our code. I'm anticipating something in writing that can do a lot better job of explaining it than I would be able to. Spoke to a couple of people in Mr. Ettling's office who should be getting us something fairly soon about that. I want to remind everyone that we are live for all of these meetings now, but we do not control the on and off switch when it starts and when it stops. So just to give you a heads up, that is controlled remotely. So we don't know when it goes on or when it turns off. Just give you a heads up is all, okay? And also wanted to make an announcement that the county rezoning heard this evening will be moved to the 19th in place of the 12th. We had multiple conflicts come up on the 12th. They're to be heard in front of the commissioners. That will be moved to the 19th, still at 9 a.m. in this room, so just 1 week later than previously announced.
Okay, any question? Planning Commission. Okay, I have a motion. Motion for approval. Second. Favor aye? Cindy, do you have anything at all?
The only thing that was really big this month is that IDNR did, again, add sections of flood zone. They updated their maps again, which they will continue to do. These are along Gundy Ditch, Cox Ditch 1 and Cox Ditch 2, so they are gonna stick. But we, as an office, did send letters to everyone who was affected, just to give them a heads up that something may be coming. One person told me actually that insurance already got a hold of them before I did, and I sent letters out 2 days after the update. So their insurance is pretty fast.
Okay, any questions for Cindy?
One more thing, if I may, I wanted to call attention to the 2 handouts you had in front of you. We will get to those. I will call those out when we come to them.
I thought they were there. I have an approval of Cindy's report. So moved. All in favor, aye? Aye. Motion passes. Okay, communications received from the county commissioners, or did you put it somewhere else on the agenda?
We stuck that at the very
He
end.
put it as an actual agenda item, that's why we've got to do it.
Yes, you have a new, I should have, yes, you're right, thank you. That is one of the things there in front of you, one of the handouts. Please use the updated agenda that was a handout rather than the one in your packets.
Be that one up there.
Right. The sole change being,
It looked like everything else was the same.
right, the sole change being the agenda item under letter N. last at the very end.
I thought that was Norm's rule, because it wasn't with my other stuff. Okay. I guess we'll go to, there's not any communication for non-agenda items or anything. Okay. First item is docket number 76, special ordinance 34, 2023, 2901 and 2929 South First Street, 2900 and 2914 Arlett Street, and 2 East Margaret Avenue. Take it from an R1 to a C6 to a C3 Regional Commerce District.
The property owner is Kenneth E. Steiner Jr. Proposed use is National Equipment Rental Company. Proposed zoning is C3 Regional Commerce District. It's currently zoned R1 Single Family Residence District, C6 Strip Business. The combination of the two represented by Mr. Shagley. It's located on the corner of First Street, Wheeler Avenue, Arlett Street, and East Margaret Avenue. It is a regional commercial zoning. It has R1, C6, and C3 to the north, C2 and R3 to the west, C3 to the south, C2 and R1 to the east. The petitioners are requesting to rezone to C3 Regional Commerce District for a rental company. The area is mixed use with commercial and residential. 5 of the 7 parcels requesting to be rezoned are currently zoned C6 Strip Business Zone. Hard surfacing is required and a stormwater drainage plan must be approved by city engineering. Any remaining single-family homes will need to be removed. The lots may need to be combined. The Department of Engineering has noted that there are future plans to widen Margaret Avenue to accommodate higher traffic volumes and that the rezoning aligns with the current and future development plans for Margaret Avenue. Staff offers a favorable recommendation with the following conditions: site plan approval with parking and stormwater drainage by city engineering.
Okay, Mr. Shagley.
Good evening, Mr. President, fellow members of the commission. My name is Richard Shagley. I'm with the law firm Bright, Shagley & Lowry, and tonight I'm here on behalf of Kenneth Steiner. Mr. Steiner owns the property just mentioned off Margaret Avenue. All those addresses are in front of you. I'd be happy to read them to them if you'd like. But I think they did a nice job of explaining this. This is going to be property that will be sold to a national rental company. They will be doing anything with a rubber tire down to a hammer. So this isn't going to be like West Side Tractor or the competitor, the McAllister's across the street. This will be a national Cahill's type company coming in. And as a result, they're asking for this to be rezoned to C3 for that purpose. I'd be happy to answer any questions you may have.
Any questions from Mr. Shagley? Anyone speaking in opposition to this petition?
And I did hear from one adjoining landowner. Once I explained to him what was going in, he had no objection to this proposed project.
Okay. Anything else from the planning commission? Okay, motion to approve.
Second.
Favor aye.
Aye.
Motion passes.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Next item is docket number 79, special ordinance 36, 2023, 1547 Lafayette Avenue from C2 to a C3 Regional Commerce District.
The property owner is Walter H. Sebastian Jr. Proposed use is automobile sales. Proposed zoning is C3 Regional Commerce District. Current zoning is C2 Community Commerce District, currently represented by Mr. Shagley. The property is located on 3 corners, North 16th Street, Carl Avenue, and Lafayette Avenue. It is a neighborhood enhancement area. To the north, it has C3 and R1, C3 to the west, C2 to the south, and R1 to the east. The petitioners are requesting to rezone the property for automobile sales. The property has street setbacks on all 3 sides. There is a pre-existing structure on the property that does not meet setback requirements. The Department of Engineering has commented that the right-of-way will be utilized when Lafayette Avenue is reconstructed in the near future. It appears that parking has been utilized in the existing right-of-way. The right-of-way cannot be used for parking and variances cannot be obtained. Hard surfacing is required in all commercial zonings per city code. The drive from Carl Avenue may not meet requirements for the minimum distance from an intersection, but a site plan was not submitted showing ingress egress. Although not entirely possible, extensive variances will be necessary for the property to be utilized and will leave a very small buildable area. The Department of Engineering also believes that C5 zoning rather than C3 would be more appropriate. However, automobile sales and service, major and minor repairs are a listed use in the C3 district. They they did offer a negative recommendation for the zoning. Staff recommends a favorable recommendation with the following conditions: approval of any necessary variances, site plan approval, including parking and stormwater drainage by the Department of Engineering.
Mr. Shagley.
Thank you, Mr. President, fellow members of the commission. My name is Richard Shagley. I'm with the law firm of Wright, Shagley & Lowry. And tonight I'm here on behalf of Walter Sebastian. Mr. Sebastian owns the property located at 1547 Lafayette Avenue. You are probably somewhat familiar. It's a tiny triangle, and there's an existing building on it that's been there for as long as I can remember. One of the previous uses was a car lot, and that, bless you, that is the intention, obviously, of going forward. As Penny stated, we're currently requesting a C3, which allows for the automobile sales. As was pointed out, a C5 does that as well. I met with Marcus and we went over these concerns, and whether it's a C5 or C3, first of all, thank you, Marcus, for your time and going over this with me. Both, whether it's a C3 or a C5, is going to require several variances that end up in the same place. Mr. Sebastian intends to use this, what's been used for decades, might be a little much, but that is a small use, a car lot. He's well aware of the improvements coming down the path for Lafayette Avenue, and will plan accordingly. I'd be happy to answer any questions you may have.
Any questions for Mr. Shagg? Anyone speaking in opposition to this petition?
Second.
In favor, aye. Aye. Opposed? We have one opposed. Motion passes.
Thank you very much.
Okay, the next item is subdivisions minor, primary, secondary, docket number 67, file 37,020.
The property has frontage along South Fry Street, commonly associated with 4200 South Fry. One new lot is 6.84 acres, the surveyor, Mr. Keller. The applicant is requesting to replat Bonar Sub Lot 1, increasing the lot size. A variance has been requested. Health Department has approved. Public sewer is not available. Public water is not available. It's not in the flood zone. The lot does exceed the minimum lot size requirement. South Fry is considered a secondary collector level roadway with proposed right-of-way of 60 feet. The approval of this plat is contingent upon it being recorded in 90 days. A variance of scale has been requested due to the large area involved. Staff is of the opinion that the requested variance will not be injurious to the public health, safety, morals, convenience, or general welfare of the community. The value of the area adjacent to the property included in the variance will not be affected in a substantially adverse manner. The strict application of the terms of this ordinance have resulted in an unnecessary hardship, excluding financial reasons and use of the property. Therefore, staff recommends favorably on the variance request and the subdivision.
Okay, is the petitioner present? Mr. Keller, are you speaking? Yes, sir. Anything you'd like to add or any questions you have? Okay, any questions from the planning commission? Anyone speaking in opposition to this petition? Motion, please.
Motion to approve.
Second. All in favor, aye.
Aye.
Motion passes. Okay, next item is docket number 75, file 44, 2023, Southern Acres, East, Phase 2.
Mr. President, this has an accompanying rezoning petition. Would you like them heard concurrently?
I think we should.
Okay, we'll start with the subdivision then. The property is bounded by Haythorne Avenue on the north, 19th Street on the west, and Winslow on the south. It is commonly associated with 4530 North 25th Street, though no portion is accessible by or has frontage along 25th Street. 10.3 acres. Surveyor's Mr. Tolles. The request is to plat the current vacant industrial property into 41 lots for single and two-family residential developments. This is a primary request. The Health Department has approved. A sanitary sewer is available. Public water is available. A main extension will be required. The local fire protection district has requested hydrants on the north and south side on Haythorne and Winslow. It is not in the flood zone. The lots do exceed the minimum lot size requirements. The area is well served by other utilities. Stormwater drainage will be required with the major subdivision. In the past, concerns have been levied about additional traffic along Winslow. City engineering may request upgrades be made to Winslow to accommodate the additional demand. Tract 1 is proposed to be single-family attached housing. Tract 2 is to be single-family detached housing. Tract 1 has a water main running through it. Setbacks along the easement may limit development. The site has been cleared, but no further development has occurred. Floor area ratio size for this area of town is indicates a minimum lot size of 6,600 square feet. A rezoning of the property must be approved. The petitioner will have 2 years from the date of approval of the primary plat to submit for secondary approval. We offer a favorable on the primary with the following issues to be addressed prior to secondary approval: road cut permits if needed, bonding for infrastructure if needed, a CSGP approval, approval of the rezoning, and addition of the location of the fire hydrants on the plat.
The property owner is Southern Homes LLC. Proposed use is two-family residence and single-family residence. Current zoning is M1 Light Industry District, represented by Mr. Shagley. The property is located on the north side of Winslow Avenue, on the south side of, in the south side of Haythorne Avenue. It is a neighborhood conservation district. To the north is county zoning R1, RT, and M2. To the east, M1, to the south, R1 and R2, and to the west, R1. The property is surrounded by mixed uses and has been vacant for several years. The petitioner is requesting to rezone the property from M1 Light Manufacturing to R1 Single Family Residence and R2 Two Family Residence District. The rezoning accompanies the Southern Acres East Phase 2 subdivision. Tract 1 is currently one lot for a single duplex. Tract 2 is divided into 40 lots for single-family homes. The petitioner would have to rezone or replat the lot in Tract 1 in order to allow more than one duplex. Hard surface parking is required in the C2 district and city code. The Department of Engineering has stated that in the recommendation that the rezoning of the property would not create any significant problems for the surrounding area. Staff offers a favorable recommendation with the following conditions: site plan approval by city engineering and approval of Southern Acres East Phase 2 subdivision.
You have a handout in front of you that is a Tribune Star article. Therein they cite that the developer has been awarded grants to help make this project possible.
Shay.
Good evening, Mr. President, fellow members of the commission. My name is Richard Shagley. I'm with the law firm Bright, Shagley & Lowry, and tonight I'm here on behalf of Southern Homes LLC. And as was stated, this is the old Winslow scale property, and the field to the west. Southern Homes is hoping to build 40 single-family homes, and then eventually on Tract 1, some duplexes. The duplex portion isn't finalized. He knows they want to do duplexes there, and as stated, we've got 2 years to finalize the subdivision on that. But the main focus is the 40 homes, 40 single-family homes on the R1 portion of this project. As also stated by, I believe Jared mentioned the article in the paper, Thrive, formerly West Central, had a housing program and with certain parameters, and this is one of the projects that was submitted, and I've been told it was one of the higher scoring projects of the ones that were submitted. This is as you're all aware, we have a severe housing shortage in not only Vigo County, but our region. This project is one of several that is hoping to help alleviate and work towards improving the housing market in our community. I'd be happy to answer any questions you may have.
Okay, any questions for Mr. Shaggy? Yes, sir.
Exactly.
Yes, sir.
In this, and I agree that we need housing all over the area, but when it goes to residential and from M1 or 2,
Yeah.
I'm always concerned about the ground itself. Would it or has it been tested for any pollutants?
I'm not aware of a phase 1 on this. It was, for the most part, it was very overgrown up until the last 6 months where Southern Homes has cleared it. So I don't know how much past the Winslow scale building that property was used. So I guess to answer your question in the long way, I don't know for sure if they had done a phase one on that. I would hope that those issues would have somehow came out during the due diligence period of the purchase of the property. So my thought process would be that if there was an issue, it would be known by the developer in this situation.
And then, I would like for it to be, you as a representative, to go to the developer
Yeah.
and see if it has been, or any action should be further done on that.
Yeah,
Just for, not more than GP, just for.
right. I will look into that and report back to you.
All right, thank you.
Yeah.
Okay, any other questions? Anyone speaking in opposition? No motion. Move for approval. Vote? Yes.
Second.
All in favor, aye?
Aye.
Motion passes.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Okay. Next item is docket number 64, file 36, 2023, Hicks.
This agenda items has an accompanying rezoning. Would you like them heard concurrent? Okay, the property is immediately west of the petitioner's property, commonly known as 6985 East Rio Grande Avenue, 0.48 acres, surveyor's Mr. Little. The request is to subdivide the 0.48 acres for expansion of the commercial use. Health department is still pending, sanitary sewer is not available, public water is available, it's not in the flood zone. The lots exceed the minimum lot size requirement, the area is well served with utilities, and stormwater drainage is typically required with a major subdivision. The rezoning does accompany this petition. This is a major subdivision due to the commercial nature of the proposed use. We offer a favorable in the primary and secondary subdivision with bonding for infrastructure if needed, recorded within 90 days of health department approval. On to the rezoning. The property owner is Nora Kersey. The proposed use childcare. It is currently A1 agricultural. The proposed zoning C4 commercial office district. Surrounding uses to the north, south, and west are agricultural. To the east, C2 and R2M. Character of their area is typically single-family homes and farm ground. Operating immediately to the east is a child care center. This request will expand the commercial use at that location. A child care center is a permitted use by right in the C4 district. An incomplete site plan was submitted. A revised plan will need to be submitted and approved depicting the building location and parking and adherence to setbacks. State releases for building and health for septic design are needed at the time of permitting. Based on our findings, staff does offer a favorable recommendation with the following conditions: revised site plan indicating building size and location, depiction of parking on the site plan, and then hard surfacing of all public use areas or relief from the Board of Zoning Appeals.
Okay, is petitioner present? Anyone representing the petitioner? Yes, is there anything you'd like to add or any questions you have? Okay. Is there any questions from the board? Is there anyone speaking in opposition? Have a motion? Yes, sir.
How does this number 63 coincide? How does 64 and 63 coincide?
They're subdividing off a piece of the, if you look at the bigger picture, they have the daycare and the house all kind of in one area, so they subdivided off the daycare, and now there's,
Yeah, that's what it is.
Is that what it was?
We got the wrong aerial on 63. in our packet.
That's my.
Plus, I never had anything that you just read in my,
I apologize, that was probably my fault.
I mean, whatever.
They're just expanding the daycare to the west, and so they're subdividing off a piece from the parent tract to rezone it to commercial.
I said, well, look, this,
Yeah, it's not part of it.
guess I agree with that. Okay, is there anyone?
Motion to approve.
Thank you. Second.
Second.
All in favor, aye? Okay, the next item is docket number 68, file 38, 2023, local 157.
This agenda item also has an accompanying rezoning. Would you like them heard concurrently?
Yes, sir.
Okay,
It's got the right area on it, too.
good. Thank you.
It's got the one from the previous one in it, too.
Okay. The property is just east of the 1 acre common, okay. The property is just east of 1 acre that is commonly associated with the address of 8838 East Milner Avenue. Size of this lot is 30 acres. The surveyor is Mr. Tolles. The request is to subdivide the 30 acres for commercial development. This is a primary request only. Health Department review is still pending. Sanitary sewer is available on East Milner Avenue, but the proposed development will not be required to connect due to the distance from the property line to the sewer. Milner is considered a local level roadway. County engineering may request improvements to the road to handle the additional traffic. However, they reported no initial concerns and have requested a stormwater management plan. It's not in the airport overlay. Public water is available. It's not in the flood zone. The lot does exceed the minimum lot size requirement. The area is well served with other utilities. The subdivision has an accompanying rezoning. This subdivision could be approved independent of the rezoning. The petitioner will need to demonstrate adequate water and sewer capacities are available for the proposed use. County engineering will need to review and approve of the existing road design or will recommend changes to handle the increase in traffic. Road cut permits will be needed. We offer favorable in the primary with the following to be addressed prior to the secondary approval: CSGP, bonding for infrastructure if needed, fire department approval, and county engineering review and approval. As for the rezoning, the property owners are Plummer and Steamfitters Local Union 157. The proposed use is an educational, training, and vocational center. It's currently A1 agricultural, the proposed zoning C3 regional commercial district. Guidance for this area is suburban residential. Development priority is low. The surrounding uses to the north and south, A1 north also has R2 to the west and east are both RS or residential suburban. The petitioner proposes to construct on site a 49,662 square foot building to be used as an educational training and vocational center. There are existing concerns over increased traffic, strain on local roads, water, and sanitary disposal at that location. Residential suburban adjoins to the east. A landscape and buffer plan is required where residential adjoins. The site plan submitted indicates approximately 70 parking stalls, not including ADA stalls. Required is 1 parking space for each 100 square feet of gross floor area in the building, or 1 parking space per each 25 square feet of classrooms, whichever provides a greater number of spaces. 3 off-street loading spaces will be required but are not depicted. 1 space for each 15,000 square feet of total floor area. State releases will be required prior to permitting. GSP will be required prior to the foundation releases. From the petitioner's representative, communicated electronically to us on 8/14 by request of staff, there will be, Monday through Friday, they are anticipating 10 to 15 people every day, 30 to 40 at night. Saturdays approximately 20, 6 to 8 full-time staff members. This is a private building. They are anticipating needing 125 parking spots. They are anticipating having 132 to 150 parking spots. They also have ADA parking. None of the trees will be removed, which they believe will act as a good natural buffer to the residents to the east. This will, of course, require approval from the Board of Zoning Appeals. Monday through Friday, 7 a.m. to 10 p.m., Saturdays, 7 a.m. to noon are their operating hours. The plan is to have controlled lighting that will not have a negative effect on any of the neighbors. All signs will be on the property owned by the Plumbers and Steamfitters. This property is served by public utilities. Typically, once impacts are accounted for and all hazards overcome, these types of developments can be a benefit or can be beneficial to a local economy. Therefore, staff can offer a favorable recommendation for this rezoning request with the following conditions: approval of the landscape and buffer plan, revised site plan meeting or exceeding development standards as outlined in the UZO, and approval of the major subdivision.
Mr. President, fellow members of the commission, my name is Richard Shagley. I'm with the law firm of Wright, Shagley & Lowry. And tonight I'm here on behalf of the Plumbers and Steamfitters Local 157. We're here tonight asking for property that they own off Milner Avenue to be rezoned from A1 to C3. If you're familiar with this property, the Plumbers and Steamfitters on both sides of the road. They currently have their training center on the other side of this proposed project. They are, as you heard, wanting to build a new educational training vocational center, a larger one, a more up-to-date one, and a more modern one to kind of go with the times. The Plumbers and Steamfitters are positioning themselves in a good place in the coming years, and they need a training facility for their not only current members but their future members, to have them prepared for the workforce, what's coming our way. As a result, they are wanting to build this training facility. I have had the opportunity to speak with our only neighbor. He had, I don't know if he was going to come tonight. Dale's here. He had some questions that we went over today. Obviously, I did not alleviate all his concerns because Dale's here this evening. But I feel like I did a good job in trying to make sure he realizes the Plumbers and Steamfitters Local 157 will continue to be a good neighbor. He had a couple questions regarding the retention pond, and I indicated to him that with the change of the rezoning, the Plumbers and Steamfitters Local 157 would be required to maintain their runoff water, and hence the retention pond that is north of the proposed building. He also had questions regarding the lighting, which I indicated that not only because of the trees, but also because of the requirements, they will focus their light on their building and their parking lot, and they will not be flooding the potential, their only neighbor, and that is Mr. Bergen. And then we went over the hours of operation, and then the fact that any noise concerns. And it is our belief that obviously this is one, an inside facility, but two, the nice thing, as you can see by the site plan that we submitted, that there is, it's well forested and there's no intention of removing any of those trees. Therefore, we believe that's even a better buffer for not only the light but the sound. And his last concern was traffic. And I like to think, so currently it's night classes, and it's for the apprentices, which are generally a younger group of individuals. And in the current scenario with the Plumbers and Steamfitters Local 157, their members work all day and then drive to this training facility to do their apprenticeship program. I can imagine young men and women, after working all day and then spending time in class, are somewhat eager to not be there. And I think that has possibly caused some issues in the past with traffic on Milner, although traffic is not bad on Milner. Mr. Bergen, being the only neighbor, has had some issues. With the proposed new facility, as mentioned in the staff report, there will now be classes during the day, so you won't have men and women working all day and then going to class at night and then having that mass exodus at 9 or 10 at night. You will have members of Local 157 going through class Monday through Friday during the day. There will be less than the normal at nighttime, which I think will just be an overall benefit to Milner Avenue and the traffic on it. Same amount of vehicles spread out over a larger period of time. So I hope going forward in the future, and I think with a little instruction to the members of Local 157, especially until this building is complete. I think we should be able to alleviate all the concerns of our really only neighbor in this project. I'd be happy to answer any questions you may have.
Any questions, Mr. Shea? Anyone speaking in opposition to this petition?
Kent Marshall, we own multiple parcels on Milner Avenue, just west of the proposed location. First, I'll say I'm excited to learn that they're going to be building a new facility for training of the trade, so congratulations on that. My concern is in regards to the traffic as well. There are multiple hidden driveways on Milner because of the terrain, and I guess I would just like to propose that some signage, some warning signals or whatever be placed in some of those areas due to the hidden driveways, especially as you come off of Chamberlain going east. And we own 2 of those driveways, so that's one of my concerns. The other thing, too, has to do with another thing with the traffic. A lot of these students are younger. They have a tendency to be in a hurry to get to class, and there are multiple families along that thoroughfare that have children. We have grandchildren. I guess I'd just like to request that, there's been conversations with the 157 in regards to the speed of some of the students through there, and I just want to express my concern. Not opposed to the project, but with the additional traffic, I think there's some traffic concerns that need to be addressed.
Could you tell us what's the speed limit there right now down that road?
30 miles an hour.
Okay.
And it's normally exceeded rather extensively, especially
Right.
from Chamberlain to it. And like I said, I know some of these students are in a hurry to get to class. They may be running late, whatever. And they're in a hurry to get home. They've had a long day, so I get it. But at the same time, though, I think they need to respect the residents in the area in regards to that.
I believe our highway department could definitely help with signage on that.
Well, I was going to ask that, and 2, not only Kim, but Dale brought up the traffic, and it was my intention to talk with Mark Swanner, who's the business manager for Local 157, and I feel confident, and if you want to wave, he's here this evening, I feel confident that he will have a discussion with the director of the apprenticeship program to remind the men and women of the apprenticeship program the need to be careful on Milner Avenue. I do believe that with the construction and completion of this building, and with the the day classes, which means they're not going to be working all day, going to class at night, I think you will see although they will probably be eager to get to school for the training, they may not be as eager as they were leaving to go home in the evening. It'll be more during the day and during a more lighted time, which I think will just add to safety. And that, with some help from the Vigo County Highway Department, I would hope that we can alleviate all the concerns of not only Dale, but Ken as well.
Okay, any other questions? Anyone else speaking to this issue? Yes, sir.
I live at 8539 East Miller Avenue, just 3 houses down from Plumbers and Steam Fitters. And,
Have your name, please.
John Falk, F-U-L-K, Jr. And while Plumbers and Steam Fitters have always been good neighbors, I mean, no problems. And they do a lot to help the community and stuff. And I got no problem with their business. I got no problem with what they do. I got no problem with their expansion. But just to kind of reiterate what he's saying about the traffic, it is a problem, especially when class lets out. And there's people come out and just fly down through there. And I live there. My son lives catty corner across the road, our grandson. We got dogs, but we keep them on the street. But still, there's a lot of kids up and down there. There's kids walking up and down through there, and it's a quiet neighborhood. And I don't really have a problem with them, but yes, something needs to be done to kind of help control the traffic there. When this happens, to keep people from flying up and down through there. Most of them live there because it is quiet, and that's what we like about it. And honestly, When their class is let out, you hear for about 5-10 minutes, and then it's just quiet again. But yeah, there is a bit of a speed problem down there when the class does let out. So, you know, that's what my only real concern. And, you know, it's like I said, as far as their expansion, what they're building, yeah, I approve that 100%.
Okay, thank you. Any questions?
Thank you.
Planning Commission? I would just make this comment, since speed seems to be a little bit of an issue, and it is posted, you know, I would admonish anyone, if it starts getting out of line, call the Sheriff's Department, and that always kind of slows things down.
Yeah.
And we can handle this in kind of a good way and keep people safe. So, okay. Anything else?
I could go on if you'd like, Mr. President, or I could just
Okay, is
stop
there
right
anyone
here.
else that would like to- Okay, if not, I need a motion. Motion to approve.
Yeah.
That's for both? For both? Motion. Did I get a second?
Second.
Okay, all in favor, aye?
Aye.
Motion passes.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Okay, the next item is under subdivision major, primary, secondary, docket number 71, file 41, 2023, Spat subdivision, track 2, subdivided.
The property is commonly associated with 1122 Locust Street. The surveyor is Mr. Colvin. The request is to subdivide 5.86 acres, bifurcating the existing commercial structure. Health Department has approved, sanitary sewer is available, and a connection will be required. Public water is available, lots exceed the minimum lot size requirement. No new proposed public streets. Area is well served with other utilities. Typically, stormwater drainage is required with a major subdivision. Spat Subtract 2 Lot B does have a separate road cut that can be utilized if approved for that use. As no new development is intended, staff would recommend a waiver of the majority of the major subdivision requirements. However, city engineering may reserve the right to ask for and require compliance with those same development standards if and when additional development occurs. Subdivision will reduce the number of parking stalls available to each use. Special exception for shared parking agreement may be needed from the City Board of Zoning Appeals. City engineering will need to review the existing use and parking requirements. We offer favorable in the primary and secondary. The following conditions: report within 90 days, BZA approval for setbacks reductions, which I don't think it needs now.
Okay,
Site plan approval, yes.
okay, thank you. Is the petitioner present? Anyone representing the petitioner? Yes, sir.
I apologize right off the bat. I've got an ear infection. You guys sound like a hollow in here tonight, so I'm having a hard time following everybody. But you're talking about Spat subdivision, phase 1 and 2, 2A and 2B, and you know, it's an existing property on Locust and 12th Street, and it's basically splitting a big building into 2 properties. So we asked for a waiver on the lot setback, side lot setback, because we actually followed the interior wall. To split the 2 properties, also asked for waivers on topo and drainage calculations. The property will not be changed at all, although it looks like they need to do some patching of the parking lot. You know, the drainage would not change at all.
Okay, well, I think some of those have to be taken care of by Board of Zoning Appeals, is that right? Setbacks? No, as far as setbacks.
I don't think they need setbacks, because I think the zoning, with the way the zoning is in the city, I don't think. There's no side setback.
Yeah, there's no, in that specific commercial zoning, there's no side setbacks.
Right, so that part,
So they're fine,
Okay, so we're good.
yeah.
yeah.
Okay. Is there any questions from the board? Anyone speaking in opposition? Have a motion, please. Motion for approval. Second. Aye. Passes. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Next item is docket number 74.
If I may, Mr. President, the question on the environmental on the Winslow Scale property, there was a study done, and they discovered a tank, and that tank has been removed. So there was an environmental done, not by the current owner, but a previous owner, and they discovered a tank, and it had been removed. So just an update on the environment. Thank you.
next item is docket number 74, file 43, 2023, Idle Creek Phase 1 and 2, additional lots 259 through 262, and lots 300 through lot 303. Ryan, are you recusing yourself?
I would like to, yes.
Okay, do we have a motion?
Motion to allow that.
Second.
All in favor, aye?
Aye.
Okay, you're recused.
The property is an extension of Idle Creek subdivision Phase 1, Second Edition, 3.04 acres. Surveyors, Mr. Keller. The request is for approval to extend Idle Creek subdivision by 7 lots. Health Department has approved, sewer is available. Roads must be built to county road standards. Approval from county engineering must be obtained for acceptance of the roadways. Storm management plan is required to satisfy technical standards. Public water is proposed. A water main extension plan must be submitted and approved by INAW. It's not in a flood zone. Lots exceed the minimum lot size requirements, and all utilities are available. Evidence of infrastructure improvements is apparent, and construction is ongoing. A rezoning of the lots is needed in keeping with Section 801D of the UZO. So we offer favorable in the primary and secondary at the following conditions. There was a small Scribner's error on the plat, which I think has already been corrected. Record within 90 days, rezoning of the lots in keeping with Section 801D of the UZO, and then the approved construction stormwater grading plan.
Okay. Your Honor, you represent the petitioner. Okay, any questions from the planning commission? Anyone speaking in opposition? Motion.
Motion to approve.
Second. All in favor, aye?
Aye.
Motion passes. Okay, the next item is amendment to Article 5, one of the bylaws of the Area Planning Commission of Vigo County. And
That is
it's
sorry, pardon the interruption. That is, we should have emailed it to you, but just in case there is a handout there in front of you, that is what we sent in that email. Sorry, please go ahead.
which is basically looking at a change in the time that we have the planning commission meeting. Any discussion?
I think 5 o'clock is too early.
I'd like to amend that to 5:30.
Okay, any questions on
I'd
5:30?
like to amend it to 6 o'clock,
Yeah, I'd go for 6.
if possible on that. Amendment.
Well,
Unless you need to vote on that, then vote on it.
can you interpret, please?
He'd like for it to be 6 o'clock.
He liked what he said. Okay. You know, we discussed this in our meeting previously to length, and I think Mark's got some strong feelings about it. I mean, there's some things as far as the sheriff's department having to be here, and we've got some staff members lined up having to hang around here, because by the time you get home, you gotta come right back. And so, I should tell you in the past that there's been a number of times that we either changed the time or we discussed changing the time and people wanted to change, said, well, let's just leave it the way it is. And in the past, when we changed the time, we wound up changing it back. Now, we're in a different time now because Norma and I are old enough that that was a long time ago. So, you know, things may work out better, but, you know, I think there's a compromise here where you kind of need to accommodate the public so that they can make a meeting, and at the same time, accommodate the, all parties that are concerned with these meetings that could be here and represented. So, I mean, it's your choice on what you want to do. I spoke with our attorney, and he initially said, well, I couldn't see a problem with 5 o'clock, and then after we discussed it a little bit, he thought that 6 o'clock was probably a pretty good compromise. You had indicated taking kind of a slow process step in regards to this. Could you elaborate on that?
Yeah, our whole thinking, the commissioners, this is obviously, we don't want to be an undue burden to people coming in, and I don't feel that 5 is, but I would compromise to 5:30. County government is open from 8 to 4. If folks need to come in and file these types of permits and things like that, they have to come in between 8 and 4. It is, I believe, having these meetings at 7 is an undue burden for our county employees that have to come in, sheriff's deputies, things like that. So I guess I would like to propose that we adopt 5:30 as our new meeting time.
Second that.
Do we have a motion and a second? All in favor, aye?
Aye.
Those opposed?
Aye.
Aye. Well, there's 4, so it looks like that doesn't carry, does it?
You have to have 8.
I had a couple conversations with a couple of attorneys that represent cases, did not talk to Richard about it, and they were separate. And both of their initial reactions were that for them it'd be nice to be done with it. But their concern was not only the petitioners who are burdened by filing applications and stuff, but more so the demonstrators who are employees at Walmart South or, as big as our county is, and they felt like the 6 o'clock time was a fair compromise to allow people to get off work, get their dog fed, get to the meeting, and speak their piece. So I would be in favor of trying a 6 o'clock, and certainly if it doesn't work like is in the past, we'll go back again. But that was the feedback that I got.
Was that a motion?
What you're saying, it's not locked in stone. We
We can change it next month
can change the motion.
before we start.
In my thinking,
For you, it'd be like it's
my thinking was that we would not start this until January 1st. That would give us time to communicate this with the public. I'm a compromiser, Mr.
I would
President.
move that we change our meeting times for 2024 to 6 o'clock.
Second. Yeah.
Well, can I ask a question? Sure.
It seems like 4 years ago, we had 6 o'clock meeting time.
In the 10 years I've been here, it's always been 7.
In the 20 I've been on there, it's always been 7.
Okay.
And I'm not that old.
Yes, sir. That's bad news for me.
I know.
All right, I pull back. I'm younger, and my memory's not. Hey. Really? We have never done it?
Okay, we have a motion and a second. All in favor, aye?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, so we're gonna try 6 o'clock, and you're saying let's wait till January 1.
Give us time, yes.
Okay, and we'll see how this goes, and if it seems like there needs to be another adjustment, we can try that too, if you're all.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it. Yep.
And what I meant by January.
It's not a long way away.
Okay. Anything else at this point in time?
Motion adjourned.